Hey everybody, this is Michelle Osterhout with the Country Note. I am here with Skip Ewing. And some writers build careers, others build bridges across generations. Skip Ewing has long been one of those rare artists whose work connects the past and the present. With songs recorded by legends like Randy Travis, Clint Black, George Strait, and Willie Nelson, while continuing to resonate with today's voices, including Lainey Wilson, ERNEST, and Mae Estes. Known for songwriting that feels deeply human and unmistakably honest, Ewing has never chased trends. Instead, he's written songs that endure. That spirit carries into his newest release, Stronger Where You're Broken, a hopeful reflection on healing and the strength we gather along the way. In this Backroads conversation, we'll discuss relationship stories and the hard-won wisdom that comes to shape his music, reminding us that great songs are not defined by era, but by truth. Welcome, Skip.
Well, thank you, Michelle. I'm honored that you wrote that. Wow. Thank you.
That's what I do. I'm a writer and I write the truth.
And you wrote well, I have to
Well,
say.
thank you. Thank you so much. So, my first question for you, Skip, is when you look back on your career, what feels lasting to you now? What feels more lasting to you now, I should say? Hits with your name on them or songs that you wrote that found their way into other people's lives through other voices?
Um, but that's kind of be the same. I mean, hits that I wrote, or I'm not sure I understand that.
So your own hits, because
Uh-huh.
you have some Billboard hits or hits that found
Hmm.
their way to others through other people. So
Sure,
you have
sure.
a long history of songwriting, but you also have your own hits as well.
Well, I have to. I mean, the thing is that when I first started, recording, I had an album called The Coast of Colorado, and it had five
Mhm.
hits on it. That did really well. For the time, and I was ready to do my second album. And some of the material that I took to my producer, they hated. This is
Oh,
true. They hated,
really?
and that was the start of them telling me, how I needed to dress, what I needed to write,
Oh,
how I need, and which is the reason why my focus became songwriting, because the songs that I was playing them are the ones that were hits. And the very first one of those that happened, I played for my producer at the time, and he told me honestly it was terrible. It would never get played on country radio, and yeah, and if I would just write something that that was a hit on country radio, then we'd have a record together. And that song was "Love Me," is the song that I played on the Colin Ray hit. I
hmm
mean, and that's it sold his album platinum at the time. It was number one, I think, multiple weeks. It was nominated for Song of the Year, and it's still, I can't go anywhere in the world doing shows without someone knowing that song. So the the thing is that other artists have recorded records that have eclipsed anything that I've recorded up until now. And now we have the chance to do that. So I would say I reached more people that way. How I reached them, whether it was authentically their favorite song, like you said, "If I Didn't Have You," that you really like. That's one
hmm
of your favorite songs that I
Oh,
wrote. Well,
Randy
of course, it
Travis.
was Randy Travis, and so I feel like I'm just fortunate, however that is, because how
Yeah.
I feel about that is not really what's important. How you feel about that, or how someone else who's heard
Wow.
songs that I've written feels about that, that's what's really important. But yeah, I would have to say that, I mean, with the artists that I've had songs recorded by and the level of hits they've been at times, that had to far outweigh the number of people that I reached. And meaningfully reaching people is everything I'm about.
Wow. Okay,
So,
that's pretty impressive because hearing you say that they're telling you, you were told by your producer at the time the song wouldn't go well or wouldn't go off or it was not, and then it does for someone else, and you're able to reflect and say, well, what really matters is that it reached people.
mhm. Yeah,
Ah, wow. Okay, that's pretty powerful because I would have been mad. Were you mad? Were you disappointed?
no, because here's the thing. It's just an opinion at that point, Michelle. It's
Hmm.
like it's he has an opinion. He thinks it's terrible. I thought it was good, or I wouldn't have written it at the time anyway. And my publishing company really liked it.
Yeah.
So it's not a hit until it's a hit, and it always sounds like a hit after it's a hit. You see what I mean? But before
Yeah.
then, it's not a hit. So you can have an opinion however you like, and
Wow.
and so you can't argue with it. So oh gosh, sorry, hit my um, yeah, it's so it was just an opinion until it was a hit.
Wow. That's pretty powerful. Um, okay. Stronger Where You're Broken. Let's talk about
Mm.
that song for a second. So, suggests healing reshapes us. What was this song born from? Was it born from something personal or from watching the resilience of somebody else? Because I'm really curious about the story behind that song.
Sure. Well, for me, I have to base what I think human existence is about. What is powerful to us as humans on my own experience, and the rest of it is what I can compassionately endeavor to understand in the experience of others. This is easier to explain if I explain it through horses. I don't know if you know that I did this, but basically I had gone through a lot in Nashville and got to a place where I was artistically somewhat unfulfilled. I couldn't write the kind of songs that
Hmm.
I wanted to write and make a living. At the time, I had fallen in love with horses. I had gone to Wyoming for years. I
Yeah,
sold everything in Nashville. I sold my house, I sold my furniture, I kept my art and my guitars, and I went on the road to work with horses full time. And
I
I
think
worked
that's
on
beautiful. That touches me. That's beautiful.
Well, thank you. And I did that because I was finding that working with horses was teaching me a lot about myself. And part of what that really was an effort in it is compassion, because horses don't see the world anything like we see it. Like we're predators. We have binocular vision. Horses have monocular vision. They see one thing on the left side, one thing on the right side. So its left eye will never see its right hip.
Hmm.
And they feel pressure differently. They have four legs instead of two legs. So as I'm working with a horse, I cannot be a horse, but I can work as hard as I can to understand,
Hmm.
just to trade places, to endeavor to feel the best I can. What is that like, and how can I invite that horse to work with me? Because it's my understanding that has to change most of the time. The horse knows how to be a horse, you know? And so when we are talking about like how we relate to the lives of others and to our own life, or what inspires us, um, I just want to have a meaningful existence, and I would like to offer as much to that existence with music and lyrics and songs and performance that I can. And so, when you have conversations, you learn from people, but I write from as much what I know, and then it's the step of what I can glean.
Hmm.
I don't know how someone else's life is. I don't know. In fact, in one of my songs I wrote, you can't see the gravel in someone else's shoes. So everything else is you're basically saying I don't know what's actually going on here, but I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. And I think that's vital. Stronger Where You're Broken is just really a way to look at, which we all know. If you have scar, which I have many, I'm sure you do, whether that's
Hmm.
emotional or physical, where it grows back, where it heals, is stronger than the tissue around it. So a
Hmm.
scar is literally stronger than the other skin that's around it. So if we take that and put that into an emotional, uh, you know, perspective, then sometimes, boy, if you've taken a lot in, and believe me, I've lived a lot of life that way. I've seen a lot of stuff, and not necessarily years, but just in the kinds of things that have happened.
Yeah.
And this is something that will help us to more deeply understand. I think it can make you more available to a relationship, to any relationships that we have. And so, in doing that, even the start of the song, it has, I've got scars where you can't see them, but if you could, you'd see the roadmap of my heart and all those lines and
That's beautiful.
intersections. Well, you'd think the whole damn thing would fall apart, but it doesn't. It doesn't. Somehow there's a resilience. It's like the will to live, the will to love,
Mhm.
very similar. And if we don't give up on that, then I think it has the potential to blossom into a love that we couldn't have had otherwise. It will be deeper, it will be more dynamic, and we'll be more capable. And I wish that for everyone. So, sometimes it doesn't work out. Sometimes
Yeah.
it hurts. And and sometimes it's that hurt that helps us learn. And sometimes, you know what, it's in the same relationship. Michelle, imagine that, you run into something, you
Yeah.
have this, you get your, and then you realize, oh my gosh, that was me. I can do that better. Happened with me 100 zillion times with
Yeah.
horses. I would go, I just asked you to do something with me. I invited you to do something with me, and I stepped right in your way for all intents and purposes. And because you took the cue, you basically did what I asked you to. Not what I was thinking, but what I actually did. And in a relationship, sometimes it's so good to go, wait, before it goes too far. I
Yeah.
didn't do that skillfully. I really didn't do that skillfully. Please give me a chance to do that again. Please
Hmm.
just give me a chance to express that again. Be surprised how forgiving we can be as people when we know. Because why? Similar journeys.
Yeah.
It's
Well, and
similar, and
it takes time to get to that place where you realize that you need to do that, right? So this is years of reflection. So you write you write this way. I do the same thing. So my writing is reflection. I write for the country note, but I write in other venues as well. It's just that's just so powerful what you're saying about scars and the roadmap and understanding. And I have to tell you, you and Ian Munsick have me enamored by Wyoming because you
Wyoming
both
is, yeah, Wyoming is beautiful. Where I live, especially in the northwest corner, it's gorgeous. Before we go away from it, I do want to, offer something about that. You said something, it takes time. You process it and it takes time. And also what happens is then it begins to take less time. It
yes.
begins to take less time for you to be available to say, I'm sorry, or to recognize what might need to happen, or what the most responsible, um, compassionate effort is. And then
Yeah.
still we'll get to wherever we are and we'll still screw up. I don't care how good we are. And then we go, what was I thinking?
Yeah.
So I didn't want to get past that. But yeah,
No,
Wyoming is beautiful, no doubt.
it is beautiful. Is it how freeing is it though, as it gets easier, right? So it gets easier with experience and you've done it and you realize because it's wasted time when we hold back maybe being reflective and owning up to something or I'm not verbalizing it correctly, but I think you know what I'm saying. Like it gets easier and then it's like the angst isn't there and it's just it feels good after a while. I felt as I've gotten older. I think specifically when I turned 50, I was able to just, you know what? It doesn't matter anymore. What matters
So,
is that I'm honest with my feelings and I tell people how I feel, for good, bad, and indifferent sometimes, right? But no, thank you for that reflection.
well,
I
do
just
you think it gets easier? Do you think it gets easier, or do you think we might become more willing to recognize
mm,
where we are able to, where we might be able to operate more skillfully or make decisions more skillfully, but also I think the time shortens. How quickly we're able to say, oh, how quickly do we recognize it? What used to take a week might take a couple of minutes.
yeah.
We'll recognize it because we've gone through it.
Hmm.
And if we endeavor to do that, we're doing the best we can for other people. And I actually believe that people ultimately, whether it's in the moment or later, they'll see those kinds of efforts. I don't know if I think it gets easier. I
Mm,
think I just maybe can become more skillful at recognizing what I need to do better more
hmm.
quickly and then do that. That's
That's an
all.
excellent point. You're right.
Yeah.
It's maybe it isn't easier, right? It still might be a difficult conversation you have to have, but you're just more willing to move forward. Love that. Um, num you've written songs that become emotional landmarks for millions. Do you hear your own work differently now than when you first wrote it?
Well, honestly, I don't listen to it that much. I
Really?
don't, yeah, I don't go and listen to my own. I mean, I sing the songs.
Yeah.
I sing when we go and play performances. I don't listen to myself that much. I will play the songs, and I don't know that I hear it differently. It's kind of a good question, but I wrote what I knew at the
Hmm.
time. And now there might be some things that I would say I would write that differently, or I might have spoken up when I had a co-writer and said I don't actually agree with what
Yeah.
that is. I might have been stronger in those places. Some, but I don't know that I would change it. I mean, how can you argue with something that's already been a hit? It's like
Yeah.
I hear it. Now, I will say there are some things that this is what I think is if you listen to a certain song when you're 20 and then you listen to the same song when you're 30 and you've had kids in the meantime and you get to 35 and you're divorced, now you've had kids and you're divorced, you will definitely hear what's in some songs and you will
Hmm.
process that. It will hit you harder or differently
Hmm.
because you've lived that life. And I think that happens with the demographic we have in country music right now. People who are listening are they maybe haven't had the life experience to appreciate certain things that might be said in songs. And then you go down the road and you go, "Ooh, dang, man, now I did not hear that. That did not resonate with me, and now it does.
Does.
And I think that's just because we're human and we keep again, that's just like stronger where you're broken. Life, when you're living life is an experience and it's so much of it we share, and that is why we can write songs. I believe that's why we can write songs that connect us, and that's really what I hope to
Mhm.
do. Leave space for you, not you Michelle, but you Michelle, yes, but
Yeah.
anyone to listen and then put their life to see how does that song fit in the awareness of their life, of your life. And if it has that resonance, then there's a great potential to make a connection.
Hmm.
And that's what we do from a writing standpoint. It's what we do from a performance standpoint. Don't get me wrong. It's not that something can't just be fun, that you can't have
Yeah.
a party song that feels good to dance to. And what I mean, these are all valid songs and situations. I guess I aspire to maybe say or endeavor to say something in a way that it hasn't been said before. Pretty much we've said everything. We played every note, you know,
Hmm.
but there may be some ways to say it that we haven't said in the past. There may be some poetic ways to say it that offer depth of connection that otherwise wouldn't be there. So we can write about love for the rest of time because we're constantly learning about it.
Yes. True that. Um, Love that. You've lived through multiple eras of country music.
I know, isn't that weird?
Yeah.
I gotta say, it's like so weird. I mean, I went to
Yeah,
Nashville right out of high school, right?
you
And
did.
I look back on that and go, what the heck? I mean, it was just a whirlwind. And all these things that happen. And now I did all this music, went on the road, did horsemanship, ended up in Wyoming, and now I'm back and I think I'm actually I believe I'm making the best music I've ever made. And also I feel like the people who want to work with me, who are willing to work with me, are just exceptional. And
Yes.
all that has led to this. I didn't mean to interrupt your idea of
No,
over
that's
time, but
fine.
that's what it
Yeah.
feels like, man. It's crazy. It's
Well,
crazy. Crazy cool. But
it is crazy cool. So I have just, in the last, since about the pandemic era, I was reintroduced to country music. I grew up to country music, listened to it in the background, Kenny Rogers and Glenn Campbell and Dolly Parton and all that. My grandmother listened to that growing up. And then I was very resistant to country music because it wasn't cool for a while, right? For
mm,
for young people. Maybe it was in certain parts. It was not cool where I grew up. And so I was very resistant to it. And then I was reintroduced again to it, really in the 2020, like, so a long span of time I didn't listen to country music and I was very resistant to it. And I remember some 90s country music was a little poppy and fun, but I still was resistant to it, and now I love it, and I love the storytelling aspect of it and just things that I wasn't able to open myself up to. And I'm going off on a tangent, but I just wanted to share that with you. So I've been through multiple eras as well, and how I've looked at country music has changed. And now I'm going back and listening. So you had mentioned this earlier. I'm going back and listening to things and I hear them differently and I experience them differently. But where I'm going with this question was, I feel like this is true. Like, so what has staying true to yourself required as the industry has evolved? Because if I think back to when I first started listening to country music in the 80s and where it is now, it's definitely evolved. But I also see some things coming back. So for you, what is staying true to yourself required as the industry has evolved? Or has it required anything?
Well, I mean, in one way, it kind of sounds odd, but staying true to yourself means the same thing, whether the industry has
Oh,
evolved or
yeah.
not. And so, and the definition of staying true to yourself, part of what, I'm going to endeavor to write when I say the best songs that I'm able to write. And by that, I mean, uh, I'm there's a there's a certain there's a certain musicality and there's a certain lyrical integrity to that. We, a lot of people think that the best song may be a song that's a hit, right? Well, if you say what's the best song, a song can be really good because it was a hit, but a song can be phenomenal even if it's never a hit. I'll tell you, I'll give you
Mhm.
an idea of what I mean. It's the same song when I write it. It's the same song when someone passes on it over and over and over. And it's the same song after somebody decides to cut it and it becomes a hit. So,
Yeah.
to say what's the best song, I don't know. I think a lot of people have different reasons for a song to say it's the best song, but there's so many excellent songs. And they're excellent when they take you from the beginning all the way to the end, and you absolutely love it. But we listen differently, don't we? We listen differently to, if you go back and you listen to some old records that were hits, there may be some things that they played on radio. Because remember, a number one song isn't the best song. That's not the definition of a number one song. A number one song is a number one song because it got played the most
Okay.
times on radio that week. That's the only thing that that,
Yeah.
that makes it a number one song. It's not that it's better or worse. And yet we want to quantify that. We want to, we
That's
want to
true.
say that here's the optics. If it was a number one song, it's got to be better than the number two song. And I disagree. It just means that's how many
Yeah.
times it got played. Um, so for me, as I'm moving ahead, I want. Remember, it's more than that when I'm an artist, which is what I'm
Hmm.
doing now. I'm writing from myself to make that connection and to be able to keep doing it. So
Hmm.
there has to be discovery. So it needs to get played on the radio. It needs to have streaming. It needs to make playlists and all the other things, but most of it is political, believe it or not.
Yeah.
And and so the discovery part, that's important. And I have to make decisions now about
Mm.
what would get played on country radio.
Yeah.
I can write something that I know won't get played on country radio. That doesn't make it a bad song. It could be a really powerful song. In fact, there's songs that I play at concerts that get the kind of reaction that you would think that it was a hit, and it's
Yeah.
never been a hit. It's never been really played on radio. By the same token, while we're making records, we're thinking, okay, well, we do need to get played on radio, and we do need those numbers. But the reason I think about that is because I want it to be sustainable. It's because I want to write 10 more.
Hmm.
I want
Right.
to, I have more, I have more to say. So, and also I feel like I have a responsibility to those people who are willing, and so many people who are willing to
Yeah.
listen. Listening is a gift. When you decide to listen more than 3 seconds, you're making a conscious decision like, what is this giving me though? It's a very selfish place when you're that. When you have your headphones
Yeah.
on, you don't have to make any excuses to anybody. You just listen to what you want or not listen to what you want.
Yep.
But if you develop some trust or faith in an artist or a writer, and you go, man, it's like, there's certain artists that I go, I'm going to listen to anything that they put out
Hmm.
because there's going to be merit in it. I know that's what's behind them. And that's what I hope for, for me when I'm sitting down to write a song. I don't want there to be I don't want there to be filler. I want there to be a reason for me to say what I said, invite you to listen. And if you decide, okay, wait, I'm going to listen. I'm going to go listen to this new, Mae Estes duet that you have, and I'll give it a chance. Well, if you decide to do that, then I want you to find that when you go and listen, you're going to hear production, quality, lyrics, musicality, and changes that one are unexpected, so that
Hmm.
you go, wow, I didn't expect that. I discovered something. And two, that resonate with right, that resonate with truth, as in they're true to life. That's human experience.
Hmm.
And now, and that it's going to be written to the very best of my ability, to say everything that it can in a way that might be different than you've ever heard it.
Love that. Love that. So yeah, I mean, it's the same. So just as you said, so you hope that people will want to come back for more and they find something that resonates with them. Same with me in my writing. And I just get pure enjoyment of people. So if somebody reaches out to me, say, "Hey, I really enjoy your interview that you did. Would you do that for one of our artists?" That that's wow, they enjoyed the piece, they enjoyed the writing. So that's what I love about this series in particular, because it's not just a getting to know, it's a deeper dive into an artist. So that's why I enjoy this so much. You're collaborating with a new generation of artists, Mae Estes, for example. So what do these, I'm going to say it, younger voices remind you about why you maybe fell in love with songwriting? And you said something earlier, and I'm trying to remember exactly what you said. You said something about like they're different, they're willing, they're I don't remember exactly what you said. Maybe you can remember, but you were just talking about all of these artists that are willing to work with you and just how special that is. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Well, sure. One thing, don't be worried about saying, like younger artists. It's just truth, But I want to put
Yes.
something in perspective. I
I'm
I would
struggling
be.
with it myself, Skip. Okay, I'm
You
getting up
don't.
there. I'm struggling with it.
It's not about, but it's not about age. It has nothing to do with that. I'm just as happy to work with Bonnie Raitt as I am to work with Mae Estes. Okay,
Who
just
wouldn't
to
be?
put that.
Yeah.
Well, you say that there are some people who don't like Bonnie Raitt. I find that
Well,
hard to believe, but it's true.
there must be something
And
wrong with them.
there are singers and artists who are working at it now and still able to deliver as
Hmm.
an artist, because it's a little bit like an athlete. I mean, at some point you don't have the
Mm.
same voice. You just don't have the same voice. You can't.
Right.
And I'm fortunate. I got into this, really young, and so I'm at a place in my career, even taking 10 years off, and I come back and I'm able to
Hmm.
still deliver right now the kind of vocals that I can deliver. And the reason to work with, to Mae with Mae is not because she's a young artist at all.
Of course.
It's because she's excellent. It's just straight out. It's not because she's young. It's not because
Hmm.
she's. I like who she is. I love how she sings, and I love the kind of heart. So I love the way she sings it, not just how she sings, but what
Hmm.
she offers with it. That's part of the artistry. It's the reason, there are certain artists that I love because of how they offer something. I, I don't know if I'll say this skillfully, but there's a certain way that you can be as an artist where you're going to come on stage and you are looking for that huge, arena just filled with. And I've gotten to sing with big artists in, 50,000 seat arenas, and feel what that is. And that is a powerful thing. It
Hmm.
is. The expectation of that is not a powerful thing. The
What do you mean?
the expectation of having an audience do that because you are who you are is different than offering that whether you get it or not.
Mm.
You see, right now there are some people who are going to be those folks in 50,000 seat arenas, and they're going to go out and they're going to sing, and people are going to talk while they're singing.
Yeah.
So, so when we go and we sing, I am not there to feed off of applause. I'm there to have a relationship with whatever happens in that applause. And
Hmm.
it's a moment, it's happening right then, right? Well, somebody who like Mae, I don't think like I don't know her that well, but I love her. She's the real thing. She sings because she feels it. She
Yeah.
has a lot of heart. And when she's singing the lyrics that I wrote, I believe she understands them and is literally sharing that in a way to make a connection that
Yes.
is human. That is, this has been my life. It's probably been your life. And yeah, are we going to try to entertain you? Heck yeah. Do we need that applause? Do we need people to come to shows? Do we need, oh, yes, we have to have it. And yes, we want to perform and give something that you think has that kind of merit. Well, I believe heart is a lot of that. It, and when we
Yeah.
say authenticity, well, we can push the envelopes of authenticity. I get that. But if you believe in the artist, especially in country music, if you believe that artist is giving you the real thing,
Hmm.
you'll you'll get behind that more often than not. And but I just think that's human. I don't think it has. I don't think it's just artists and music. I think it's just being
Yeah.
human. And Mae is human in just the right way to me. I love her voice. I love her humor, and I didn't really think twice about it. I had met her through another friend, a musician friend of ours. And when we got there, I said, I think Mae should sing this because I had told my production folks. And of course, you want to do features with as big an artist as you can because
Yeah.
it's all numbers. And I didn't really care about that.
Well, but
It's
it
like,
is,
I mean,
yeah.
she sings great. It'll be a great record. So I called her about that song
Yeah.
first, and I called her up and I said, what do you think? And she was so sweet. She was like, "Oh my God, I can't even believe you're asking me." And I said, "Why?" I mean, it was,
Oh, I love that.
and she she nailed it. We worked in the studio the better part of the day, talked for I don't know how long, and I'm very proud of the record that I'm very proud of the record that we've made on that. And what she brought to it was, she brought heart, but she brought some believability. When she sings it,
Hmm.
you can tell and we're playing off each other on that. And it made it a moment, and it made a moment
Yeah.
that we can share with, with the country music and the people who listen to it, and hopefully they love it. And
You
that's why
said
we did it.
something, particularly country music. I feel like there's definitely more of a connection, more of a known connection between writers and singers, and a lot of writers are singers like yourself, than any other genre. Am I wrong in that? And I know that I'm more in it than I am any other genre of music. So I am experiencing this. So maybe I'm experiencing it from a different side that most people don't experience it. But I think of Nashville, I think of country music, I think of songwriting, I think of how that's so embedded more than any other genre, songwriters and singers and musicians and shows. Would you say that's true?
Well, I don't have enough information to know if that's true now or if it was true, but I will maybe give a perspective. There are a lot of artists, even in country, that don't write and that were pitched
Yeah.
almost all the songs that they were pitched to.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so writers in Nashville have been, you know, traditionally lauded and also starved. So we
Mm,
say, oh,
interesting.
the songwriters are so, are so appreciated and respected.
Mm,
If they were really appreciated and respected, they would make a fair wage, and they don't. They still don't, and I don't think they ever will because they don't have
wow.
any way to make that happen. Nevertheless, what songwriters are about in country are the reason why country is what it is, whether
Yeah.
that's the artists themselves or not. I mean, there's a lot of writers who wrote for themselves for artists who wrote for themselves in pop music. And I mean, all we have to do is think of a few things. The Beatles,
Right.
unbelievable. I mean, Sting, Paul Simon, James Taylor.
Yeah.
Uh,
Amazing.
so I mean, and there's a list of those. And for me, I fell in love with a lot of the people I just mentioned,
Hmm.
and also Merle Haggard. People who
Yeah.
are writing really earthy, what we called country at the time, and it's still that, but
Hmm.
country is borrowing from a lot of spaces. There's nothing
Yes.
wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. We always have. The truth is, we were borrowing from the start. And all music is doing that. The one
Yeah.
thing about um, Nashville is that there's a community of writers in the
Yeah.
same place, or at least even though Nashville is much different than it's ever been, hugely, overbuilt. The downtown is nothing like it was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And there's still, even though it's spread out, there's still a country music songwriting community.
Hmm.
Um, and a lot of that is recognized by the industry in country. Maybe a little different than some others, but I don't know how differently because
Yeah.
I'm not right up in that. There are some really great, in the quote Americana genre, there's some incredible music
Oh,
that gets written and made. I mean, check out Sarah Jarosz if it's just as a good example. Just the kind of, and she's a heck of a writer. Um, so we could, spiral down the rabbit
yeah.
hole there. Um, but and it's also a history of the kind of things that are written. And man, there are some country songs where you listen to the lyric, and in country, lyrics are still quite important. But
Yeah.
there was a time where that was the reason to listen to country because of the lyrics. And
Yes.
I still think that's an element everywhere, but I think it's especially prevalent in country. And I think when people listen, which they're hesitant to do now, they don't have as much time. You only
They
got a couple of
don't.
seconds. You can't listen in a couple of seconds. That's that trust factor. So if you go, man, there's like like me, if you're watching this, listening to this, and you come to listen, what I am is joyous that you'll do that, but I am also working very hard to say,
Yeah.
I'm not here to try to make a buck off of you listening for 5 seconds. I'm looking to develop a trust with an audience that listens to me because they believe they're going to find something that matters, and I dedicate a huge amount of my time to writing the kind of songs that do.
Yeah, most definitely. I have a couple more questions for you before we go. I want to get them in. Um, Backroads is about moments between milestones, away from stage and studio. What brings you, you kind of maybe answered it, but what brings you the most peace nowadays? Is it horses?
The most peace?
Yeah.
That's a good question. Okay, I'm going to be like a little bit esoteric, but
Okay.
what brings me the most peace? You must understand that one of my favorite places to be is on a horse up in the mountains,
Mm,
and I feel very connected. There's a song on this Dragonfly EP that's coming out, and it's going to come after Stronger Words Before You're Broken,
okay.
called "Me and God in a Fishing Pole."
Oh, I saw
And
you talking about that on
yeah,
Instagram.
yeah, it's literally about feeling close to God or whatever you think of as God, the
Mhm.
universe, spiritual wholeness, connectivity, doing the simplest thing, but also it has to do with being in touch with what is earth, what is nature, I mean,
Oh,
what the place
I'm
we live.
getting goosebumps. I have
And
a spot
so,
like that. There's a
well, I
place for
live in
me
it.
where I find that.
Yeah, see, and I think we all do to a certain extent. Maybe that's not, exactly like your life, but there are some times. I mean, there's people who like me. I ride horses. I feel, and when I'm up in the mountains on a horse, it's amazing. When I'm just hanging out with a fishing pole and I'm in my own thoughts and close to God, that's where I want to be.
Yeah.
So that is something well, you can call that peace,
Hmm.
call it connectivity, however you want to call that. But there is one place where peace, and that is when I am breathing with awareness. That is the place I think where everyone finds peace if they can find it. It's just to be with yourself.
Hmm.
And that is, I know that sounds really out there, but it's honestly just, I've spent a lot of time with meditation. I spent a lot of time with
Hmm.
horses. I have a lot. I have so much more that I need to figure out, because I'm nowhere close to,
Yeah.
where I would want to be. But man, when you just go, you know what I'm going to do right now? I am just going to breathe and be glad that I'm
Yeah.
alive. I'm
It's
still, yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's wonderful when you can get to that place where, my husband just told me earlier today, not to get too personal. He goes, he's like, I'm just so lucky. I said, what are you talking about? I'm going away on a trip. I think he's going to miss me. And he goes, I'm just so lucky. I just love our family and I just love us. And it made me stop and think for a minute because he doesn't often get that reflective. And I do, especially lately, you know, um, we're just so lucky to have what we have. And, you talk about being on a horse or being with a fishing pole. I love fishing as well, but there's a place on our property. We have several acres in the mountains in Catskill region of New York. So I live in a
Mhm.
very beautiful place in upstate New York. And I can go to the top of the apple orchard and look across the valley and see the mountains. And I just feel like I'm with God. I'm at peace. I feel like a sense of awareness. And my sense of awareness is like, wow, how lucky are we to live in this world with such beauty? And you love your horses. I love my dogs. They love me unconditionally and they're so damn happy to see me when I get home. And how lucky am I that this beautiful creature made by God just wants to be with me. Just wants my time. It's a wonderful thing. Wow, that's just really special. Thank you for sharing that. One last question to sort of close us out, and I could talk to you forever, but if
Well, we'll
someone
just talk
discovers,
again then.
yeah, really, if this has just been so enjoyable, if someone discovers your music for the first time through this chapter, and I don't really want to call it a new chapter because you've been doing this, right? What do you hope they feel? When they hear your music. So just, if we were to end it on that, someone's listening to you for the first time, and what do you want them to feel?
Well, first of all, when you say new chapter, I think that's true. I mean, it's like
I
being
guess
a
it
new
is,
artist.
yeah.
It's like being a new artist for me. It's almost like finally getting to be an artist. So I'm getting to say things musically, with production, with all in what I play, what I write, what I sing, um, and what I bring to the table as an artist, and not part of my artistry is songwriting. Part of my artistry
Mhm.
is the way that I sing. Um, I don't think I want to go into it with a what I hope someone feels. I, um, that's that's not even that's not my space.
Hmm.
Um, I would say that if someone comes to listen to me, I would hope that they find something that, um, you know, that, for the lack of a better word, nourishes them or validates them, or they go, "Whoa, okay, wait, that's a cool way to say that,"
Hmm.
and that is reflective of my life. I don't have a big answer to that because I don't go around hoping someone feels something.
Mm.
I just have to allow them to feel. The important thing about that is you said, when someone listens to your music, that is what is important.
They're listening.
The rest of it is just going to happen. If they come, then we're going to make records that, whether they're already hits, whether it's building momentum, or whether it's
Hmm.
not even something we put out as a single, but still has power. And there's a lot of that. When they come, they might go, "Oh, dude, that's cool." Okay, wait a second. That's cool. Have you heard this? You know, that's what I hope for, that meaningful connection. If there's something in it that is meaningful to that person's life,
Hmm.
then we've done our job.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time.
It's my pleasure. It's delightful to talk to you. And if you want to talk again, just let our publicist know, and we'll do it.
I will totally. And when is the next EP dropping? When is the next
Well,
song dropping?
yeah, the next song, well, Stronger Where You're Broken with Mae Estes, that comes out on February 20th. That's when it goes to DSPs. And we have two more songs that are going to be released before the EP comes out in May.
Yes.
Me and God and a Fishing Pole comes out on the 27th of March. It's kind of spread out
Yeah,
like it.
monthly.
And but the funny thing is, the same day that Me and God and the Fishing Pole comes out, we're in the studio recording the next half of the Dragonfly project. So there's Dragon.
Awesome.
It's an EP, but it's not really an EP. It's half
Okay.
the record, another half the record, and then some special stuff that we'll put out with the album before we move on to the next project. Yeah.
Awesome. I would love to know where we can see you perform. Do you have anything coming up?
I know that we will have some things coming up. You can find out where I'm playing on my website,
Hmm.
skipewing.com. I know I'm in Utah this month. Because I'm in Nashville. I'm in Nashville straight on. I've got so much stuff to do. Country radio seminar is during that
Yeah.
time.
Oh, yes, the country radio seminar is coming up. I can't make it.
uh, we're recording the new project, and so I'm writing between there. So it's really not a heck of a lot of time. I do know that I'm doing a show for the Country Music Hall of Fame on March 28th. If that's a Saturday, that's the date of it. March 28th.
Okay.
I'm doing a show right in Nashville with Country Music Hall of Fame, and I'm supposed to do the Opry. I don't know which date yet, but
Oh,
please stay with us because some things are brewing, and then we'll be able to release the dates that we're going to play.
that will be awesome. Definitely. I think Katie's going to that one event. The country radio is going to that event. I
Mm.
can't make that one. I'm going to be in Nashville this week, actually, but um,
Nice.
that's
Well, enjoy
great.
yourself.
I will. I will. Well, thank you so much, Skip. We'll be in touch. And I wish you the best until next time.
Thank you, Michelle. Have a great night. I appreciate it.
Thanks. Of
Bye.
course. Thank you. Bye.